What is Christianity? In my opinion, it is the most detailed, comprehensive, and universal religion in the world. We find the Buddha in the person of Christ, and the Word of God in the Om. In Sanskrit, the word Om is a sacred syllable considered the primordial sound of the universe, representing the unity and source of all creation. It is used as a mantra in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, and its symbolic form, which often resembles the number 3, represents various spiritual concepts, such as the 3 states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, as well as the 3 realms of existence: physical, astral, and causal. In Sanskrit, Om is called Pranav mantra, the primordial mantra, considered the original sound from which the universe manifested. The 3 letters of Om are sometimes associated with the Hindu trinity of Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the protector, and Shiva, the destroyer. In Buddhism, it represents depth, knowledge, and the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Chanting Om is a spiritual practice that transcends culture and religion, aiming to bring peace and harmony. It is a very popular mantra, used most notably in the Hindu mantra Om Namah Shivaya, which means salutations to Shiva. The 3 letters of the word Om have profound meaning in both Hinduism and Buddhism, representing the sacred sound of the universe and the cycle of life. The O symbolizes the waking state and the creator God. The H represents the dream state and the preserving God, and the M symbolizes the deep sleep state, the end, and the destroying God. The beginning, birth, the waking state, and the creator God Brahma are represented by the letter O. Continuation, life, the dream state, and the preserving God Vishnu are represented by the letter H. The end, death, the deep sleep state, and the destroying God Shiva are represented by the ending M. This is the origin of the word that became flesh. Like the Buddha, Christ is found in Buddhism and Hinduism. Being a Buddha is like being a chosen or anointed one, for it is God who selects his chosen and anointed ones. Buddha is a title for the awakened one, and can refer to several people, but the most famous is Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism. After an intense spiritual quest, he attained enlightenment and spent the rest of his life teaching the path to ending suffering. Born a prince in India about 2,500 years ago, his birth name was Siddhartha Gautama. He left his princely life after facing illness, old age, and death, which led him to seek a universal solution to human suffering. After a period of extreme asceticism, he attained enlightenment under a peepal tree, thus becoming the Buddha. He spent 45 years teaching the principles of Buddhism, including the 4 Noble Truths, to people. The Buddha's 4 Noble Truths are the fundamental pillars of Buddhism. They include the truth of suffering through dukkha, the origin of suffering, craving, and ignorance through tanha, the possibility of the cessation of suffering, nirodha, and the path leading to this cessation, the Noble Eightfold Path, magga. Dukkha teaches that life is unsatisfying and marked by suffering, which can be physical, emotional, or exist in a more subtle form, linked to impermanence and the difficulty of protecting what one possesses. Tanha teaches that suffering is caused by desire, attachment, and ignorance. These mental causes, such as hatred and lust, lead to negative actions that create further suffering. Nirodha teaches that suffering can be ended by freeing oneself from its causes, namely desire and ignorance. This state of liberation can be achieved here and now. It is nirvana. Magga teaches that the path that leads to the cessation of suffering is the Noble Eightfold Path, a set of ethical practices, concentration, and wisdom to transform ignorance into enlightenment. This path includes right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The title of Buddha is given to anyone who has attained the perfect wisdom and enlightenment of nirvana. To be wise in Buddhism, one must practice study, reflection, and meditation, while cultivating mindfulness to observe one's thoughts and emotions without judgment. Understanding impermanence, detachment from attachments and desires, and cultivating compassion are fundamental aspects. The ultimate goal is to achieve a state of happiness and inner peace, understanding one's own nature and freeing oneself from the suffering caused by our desires and attachments. This involves learning not to react automatically to negative thoughts and emotions, but rather to respond with discernment and clarity. The source of all creation is the Om, or the Word of God, as it is said in John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. One might think that John was inspired by the Buddhist and Hindu Om to write this verse. I believe that God revealed himself to all nations, even to so-called pagan nations. He taught them what there was to know for a specific and defined purpose, whether through the Buddha or the enlightened. Why am I Christian, however? It is because I think that the Christian religion is the most complete and the most universal. It encompasses key concepts such as the Trinity, the divinity of Christ, the Word of God from the Sanskrit Om, nirvana, which is like a paradise of consciousness, the concept of duality between the devil and God, which is like yin and yang, the balance of the last judgment for the chosen and the damned of faith, and above all the existence of God in Brahman, in Om and in Maya. Yin and yang are two opposing but complementary forces which, according to Chinese philosophy, form a whole and govern the universe. Yin is associated with darkness, femininity, passivity, and coolness, while yang is linked to light, masculinity, action, and heat. The symbol of yin and yang represents this dynamic balance. A circle divided into two parts, a black one, the yin, and a white one, the yang, where each part contains a point of the opposite color, symbolizing that each force contains the seed of its opposite. Yin and yang are not absolute opposites, but interdependent forces that balance each other. For example, the crest of a wave, yang, is balanced by its trough, yin. The sun is yang. The shadow is yin. Summer is yang, winter is yin. They are in constant transformation and can pass into each other. Anything that reaches its peak transforms into its opposite. The fundamental question that many seekers often ask is a crucial one. What truly distinguishes the Atman, your individual self, from Brahman, the ultimate reality consciousness? The Brahman, that is, the ultimate consciousness, associated with Maya, omniscience, omnipotence, gives the Ishwara, the creator God. The Atman, the individual consciousness, associated with avidya, ignorance, gives the Jiva, the individual being that you are. The essential identity is the Atman and the Brahman. The Atman and the Brahman are not two separate entities. They are fundamentally one and the same conscious and unlimited existence. Imagine the water of a wave and the water of the ocean. It is the same water, simply seen from different perspectives. What is the Atman? Your essential self. The Atman specifically refers to the principle of consciousness, or awareness, that permeates and animates your one body-soul-mind complex. It is your physical body, your thoughts, your emotions, your memories. Consider your own experience at this moment. As you listen to these words, as you think, as you experience sensations, notice that there is an underlying awareness in the presence of which all these events are perceived effortlessly. This awareness itself does not change, even when the objects of its attention, the words, the thoughts, the feelings come and go. This unchanging witness, this fundamental feeling of I am that underlies all your experiences, is what Vedanta refers to as the Atman. It is your innermost and most essential nature. You do not need to remember that you are, for it is easy and obvious, whereas everything else becomes evident only when the mind strains to think about it, see it, hear it, or remember it. Even in dementia, one forgets one's entire life, but the fact that I exist is no more or less easy than at the height of one's life. What is Brahman? The infinite reality. Brahman means the ultimate, all-pervading, and unlimited consciousness, the very ground of substance and all existence, as well as of everything seen and unseen. Reflect on the totality of your experience. Every sight, every sound, every thought, every feeling, every memory, every dream you have ever known. What is the constant factor? All these diverse experiences arise internally and are perceived in the presence of consciousness. The you, the one who is present in every experience. This consciousness is not limited to your body or mind. It is the infinite field where everything arises and disappears. This universal, unlimited reality is Brahman. He is the absolute, the supreme principle of reality, the ultimate reality, the universal soul from which everything proceeds and to which every being is related. The Tat Tvam ACI asserts that your essential self, your Atman, is identical with the ultimate reality of Brahman. This apparent difference only arises because we tend to associate Atman, the self, the I, specifically with our individual body-mind, while viewing Brahman as the totality. But the underlying reality is unlimited conscious existence, and it is one and the same. Vedanta uses specific terms to describe the nature of this one reality, whether it is considered Atman or Brahman. When referring to reality as experienced by the individual, our essential nature, our Atman, is described as Sat Chidananda. Sat is the existence of being. This means that your fundamental nature it exists absolutely. You cannot truly conceive of your own non-existence, because the very act of conceiving requires your existence as a conscious subject that conceives. Your being is undeniable and evident. Chit denotes consciousness and its self-presence. This refers to the inherent knowing principle. You are consciousness. Everything that the body, mind, and soul assign to you for a certain time, including the world, body, and thoughts, is known to you. Note that while you know objects, you, the knower, cannot be transformed in the same way into the object of your own perception. Your nature is luminous consciousness. Ananda is plenitude, immunity, and completeness. This term is often translated as bliss, leading to the misconception that your essential nature is an emotional state of happiness. While bliss can be an experience of consciousness, Ananda, as a description of the Atman, refers to something deeper, inherent plenitude or completeness. Because you, as the Atman, are unlimited consciousness, identical with Brahman, and you lack nothing. This inherent peace and completeness are suggested in moments when desires cease, such as in a deep, dreamless sleep, revealing your natural state, when the agitations of the mind are temporarily suspended. It is not an emotion you acquire, but the very nature of your being when you are freed from the illusion of lack. When referring to reality in its absolute and independent nature, Brahman is described as Satyam Nanamanantam. Satyam is absolute reality, truth. This means that which is real in the ultimate sense, unchanging through the ages, past, present, future. While your body changes, your thoughts fluctuate, and the world appears dynamic, the fundamental consciousness, in which all these changes are observed, remains constant. This unchanging substratum is Satyam. Nanam is pure knowledge, consciousness, the principle of intelligence. This does not mean knowledge of something, but knowledge itself, the principle of intelligence or consciousness as such. It is the sensitivity that illuminates the mind, enabling you to know, understand, and perceive the order of the universe. The very fact that you can understand these ideas indicates that this Nanam operates through your mind. It is the fundamental intelligence that manifests itself through the design and apparent laws of the cosmos. Anantam is the unlimited and the infinite. This underlines the unlimited nature of consciousness. Try to find a limit to your consciousness. Where does it end? Every perceived boundary, the walls of the room, the outline of your vision, even the very concept of space appears in consciousness. Consciousness itself has no inherent boundary. It encompasses everything. This infinite nature is Anantam. Notice the close correspondence between Sat and Satyam, Chit to Nanam, and Ananda as unlimited fullness to Anantam. They describe the same reality from slightly different perspectives. If Atman and Brahman are one, why do you perceive yourself as a limited individual in Jiva and separate from a vast universe seemingly created by a separate power in Ishvara? Vedanta explains this appearance through the concepts of Maya and Avidya. Maya is a crucial concept, often translated as illusion, but more accurately understood as the intelligence of the power inherent in Brahman that makes undifferentiated reality appear as the diverse universe of names and forms. Ishvara represents Brahman seen in association with his illusory power of Maya. Ishvara is the apparent creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the cosmos. He is God with attributes. The order, laws, and intelligence you observe in the universe are considered manifestations of Ishvara Brahman, functioning through the illusions of Maya. Avidya literally means ignorance. In Vedanta, this term specifically refers to the innate and eternal ignorance of our true nature, Atman, which is Brahman. This is not simply a lack of information, but a fundamental misidentification. The jiva is the individual being, the person we perceive ourselves to be. The jiva arises when the Atman, pure consciousness, appears limited and conditioned by avidya, leading to identification with a specific body-soul-spirit complex. I am this body, I am these thoughts, I am this limited person. This sense of being a separate, limited individual, subject to suffering and desire, constitutes the experience of the jiva. Vedanta offers you a profound understanding. The separation you feel, the limitation you experience as an individual from the jiva, has its origin in avidya's ignorance of your true nature. Your essential self, the Atman, is and always has been indifferent to the ultimate, unlimited, conscious reality of the Brahman. This understanding is intended to be more than intellectual. It is an invitation to explore your own experience and recognize that you are the unchanging consciousness in which all experiences occur. Your fundamental nature is existence consciousness fullness, Sat Chidananda. The limitations you perceive belong to the body and mind, not to you consciousness. By clearly understanding and reflecting on these teachings, the ignorance of avidya that binds you to the feeling of being a limited jiva can dissolve. This leads to the recognition of your inherent freedom and fullness as Atman Brahman, not as a future achievement, but as the all-pervading reality of who you are. God in Christianity says, I am the great Brahman, and we all say that we are the lesser Atmans of the Brahman. For each one is Om in a figurative sense that is proper and reflected to him by his individual and intrinsic experience. We are all endowed with the speech that we attribute to Om, which makes us human. Both Christ and Buddha taught us the way to follow, the way to enlightenment. If we have the possibility of being gods as Buddhism and Hinduism preach, let us only remember from Christ that he is the king of the gods. We often confuse Brahman and Brahma without N, just as we often confuse Chronos with an H from Chronos without H. Chronos with an H is the personification of time, and Chronos without H is the king of the Titans. Brahman with the N is the universe and the known dimension, while Brahma without the N is the divinity who is part of the Hindu trinity with Vishnu and Shiva.